So here we are again. It seems like once a week, twice a week or more, I'm making a video talking about these people and these companies who just, oh no, they don't like what we're doing, so we're just going to call them a ism, every word we can think of. And I always say about, oh, it's the far right. And here we are. Sweet Baby Inc., Kim Belair, says anti-DEI critics are coming together under the rallying cry of far-right supremacy. And yet, people think this isn't happening. It's just a conspiracy. These people aren't doing this. These people, oh my, you're overreacting. These people invade the space that you like, fill it with unnecessary DEI bullcrap, and then when it comes to games, they expect you to pay up to upwards to $70 for a base game, and they expect you to just go along with it. Now, I don't know if, I'm sure most of us don't have money to just piss away. Do you have 70, 80 upwards to, for a game that isn't good? No, you don't. Because the economy sucks right now. So, if you're going to buy a game, if you're going to spend your hard-earned money on a game, unless you're a person who, for some reason, wakes up and like, oh man, I cannot wait to buy this game. I hope it's bad. I can't wait to spend $70 or more of my hard-earned money on a bad game. I can't wait. I'm going to the store right now. I hope that game is terrible because I love wasting my money. Every game that this company has worked on has been terrible. In the opinion of company CEO Kim Belair, not only has the ongoing discourse surrounding the game of the works of Sweet Baby Inc. Amounted to nothing more than a campaign of harassment, but its critics opposed to the concept of corporate-style diversity, equity, inclusion is an indicator of their far-right ideals. Because no one on her side has ever criticized the game, right? No blacks, no women, no. They all agree. They're like, oh my god, these games are so great. We're gonna go waste money we don't have in order to play them. I cannot wait to play a game that has been worked on by Sweet Baby Inc. because they would never, ever, ever make a bad game for us. They would never consult with people, go into these companies and make the game bad with force. No, never. So again, they don't have anything real to say. So it's the far right ideals. Again, I feel like it's once or twice a week where I say if you start criticizing the game, they'll call you phobis and ism. Here we are again. Here we are again. But no, it's not happening, right? So she talks about things at the XOXO festival, which is a place for for people working on the internet, the emotional experience of their making things online with difficult subjects, including financial insecurity, anxiety, depression, mental health, imposter syndrome, burnout, racism, sexism, and online harassment. She took on Sunday. Hello. She introduces herself, talks about her dogs, talks about her cats, talks about she likes to collect skulls and taxidermy, Elden Ring. But she says this sarcastically, and it's like, oh, yeah, it's not happening, but it is happening. Look at every game that Sweet Baby Inc. has worked on. It has not done well at all. But by day, then, she joked, I'm the cray CEO of Sweet Baby Inc., the DEI obsessed censorship mafia who is currently ruining and wokeifying all of the video games that you ever played. Okay, where's the lie in that? That's what they do. That's the purpose of their company, is to insert diversity, equity, inclusion into games. That's what their company does. That's why they're brought on by other companies. So she can say it as a joke and like, sarcastic, but no, that's what she does. And because of it, the games fail. If you haven't heard of Sweet Baby Inc., thank you. That's actually how I prefer it. Everyone's heard of this freaking company by now. If you have, you either heard of us from all those wonderful games we've worked on, or perhaps you're familiar with the nearly year-long hate campaign that has been waged against us as a team. Unfortunately, today I'm here to talk about that. In a talk I'm going to call "What Happens When You Get Harassed: A Sweet Baby Story." Doing her best Doc Brown impression, Belair took the audience back in time to the company's origin point, blah blah blah, 2018. Talks about Me Too, Black Lives Matter, and all this other crap that inspires them. And then here's another one. But the problem with the portfolio reviews is that they also assume it's mediocrity, right? Mediocrity, right? She continued. They assume the problem with your portfolio, and not the fact that there's a lot of other reasons you're not getting the gig. So, knowing that that's where a myriad of problems to be solved, we created the email called talk@sweetbabyinc.com, and we said, hey, if you're a developer who wants to be in the industry and you're someone already in the industry and you want to just talk to us. Also back here, at the time the industry was kind of responding in a way that you might imagine, a lot of corporate over promising, but within the writing sphere there were a lot of offers for portfolio reviews, like, hey, if you're marginalized or especially a black dev, we'd love to give you a portfolio review. We worked on more projects, more people joined our team. In those subsequent years, we grew from a team of only 5 to a team of 16 incredibly talented people. During that time, you might imagine, a lot of game teams were looking for guidance, both in terms of narrative, but also in terms of how to tell diverse stories and feature diverse characters. She says it again. She acts like that's not what they do. That is what they do. That is their whole purpose, is to add diversity and inclusion into games. But because of that, they focus so much on diversity and inclusion that the story suffers, the character's actual personality suffers. Being black, being gay, being this is not a personality trait. You can't just substitute that for a personality, or you can't substitute personality for that. They need a personality apart from, oh, they're black, they're this or that. But they don't care about that. That's why these characters are bland. A freaking cardboard cutout of them would have more personality. But then when you criticize that, it's, oh, you're a phobe, an ism, because, oh, you just don't like black characters, you just don't like women. No, we hate badly written characters. We hate characters that are forced in there for the sole purpose of DEI. That is what we hate. If there was a black character that was well written, we wouldn't care, but it never is. It never is. Being black or being gay or being whatever is their entire personality. And also, naturally, because we kind of have that in that kind of conversation, we help them. Throughout the years, again, we worked on tons of games, and for most of these, we did writing, story development, and sometimes we just came on and did spot checks. Sure, you guys don't want to hear this whole thing. However, talking about Spider-Man 2, let's get to where... Of course, 4chan. The Google search went bad, she admitted. I shouldn't have done it. Because rather than any praise or people going, wow, how did you do that? Or just, hey, a narrative development company, what does that mean? I'm really interested. We were instead found by 4chan and the worst people on Twitter. Suddenly, the conspiracy was alive. They were finding photos of us, sometimes of our families or our contractors. They were doxing. And I've said this before. If you dox or send death threats, even at these people who you don't like, you're a freaking loser. Just don't do it. Okay? You're not making yourself look good, and you're not making your community look good. All right? So just because you would disagree with someone and you don't like the fact that they're coming and ruining games, that doesn't give you the permission to dox them or make death threats or become actually racist or homophobic or whatever. Say your words to them, and that's it. You don't dox them, you don't death threats, and if you do, you're a freaking loser. Just stop. At its peak, blah blah blah. Talking about death threats. Yeah, again, don't do that. That goes for both sides. If you're on the right, don't do it to the left. If you're on the left, don't do it on to the right. If you're in the middle, don't do it to both sides. All you're gonna do is make yourself look like a freaking asshole in the end. To this end, she asserted, in the moments when this movement couldn't dig up another reason to attack us, they would just move on to other groups they perceived to be like us, all while doing the work of erasing those people's actual jobs and interests and papering over it with the rallying cry of far-right supremacy, DEI. But that's what happened. Like I said, that's what, see, it's happening. It's like, that's what they say happens, but that's, most of the time, it's not the gamers who are getting people fired. It's it's internal, because games are selling poorly. And when games are selling poorly, the company isn't making money. When the company isn't making money, they can't afford to keep people. When they can't afford to keep people, they have to fire people. Common sense. As ridiculous and stupid as it was, I actually was not prepared for the escalation when noted buffoon and Twitter CEO Elon Musk decided that he would chime in with his very cool thoughts. So this was hard the whole time. Since the beginning, it was great, but we were receiving countless emails, all this constant hate. It was targeted enough to feel disconcerting, even when it was kind of silly, and it was kind of drowning out our support, the support. But when Elon chimed in, it really made me realize the scale of it, because the richest man in the world was suddenly turning the eye of Sauron on 16 people trying to make a pretty modest living. Making a modest living is one thing, but when you haven't picked up the fact that DEI doesn't sell, you're in a business to make money. You're not in a business to lose it. And every game you have worked on has lost money. Most of these companies are worth significantly less than they were, because they just keep pumping out game after game, bad game after bad game, and they expect you to pay upwards to $70, $80 for it. And all of these games have been worked on by Sweet Baby Inc. or other companies like them. DEI companies do not need to exist. DEI, when it's authentic and genuine, is really good. But when you have a company that's just basically there to force it in games, and again, being gay, being black, being a woman is not a personality trait, and you can't use that in place of a personality. You can't. You need to give people a reason to connect to these characters apart from their skin color, their gender, and who they choose to fuck. You have to do more than that. But these people don't get that. They think, oh, you can see yourself on screen. Okay, I can see myself. What about the personality of the character? Give me, what is it about them that's going to make me care about? Because this is a player, this is a character I'm going to be playing as the entire game. Why should I care about them? Apart from, oh, they're this, and that. What should I care about them for? But they don't freaking understand this. When this happened, it got bigger than this. It made us realize that it was huge. We were being attacked in a massive coordinated campaign of harassment, and that sucks. But it does get me closer to the question of what happens when you get harassed. I'm looking for strength and resilience. We needed to be strength and resilience. There's a lot of Spider-Man. Doing a lot of Spider-Man. Toxic. But Yeah, when you play a game and you hear Mrs. Freeze, you expect Mrs. Freeze, not some fucking fat Asian, angry Asian dude. This is Mrs. Freeze. Does that look like a Mrs.? No, that looks like a Mr. This is what they designed. Yeah, just her complaining more, and let's read the comments. Aw, the DEI consultant who wants to destroy gaming plays the victim. How totally predictable. She did give us one piece of useful information, though. All the studios who have worked with SBI continue to do so, so every one of the games belongs on a blacklist. That was a lot of text to read and reminded me of one thing. Bad guys sure do love the sound of their own voice. If you haven't heard of Sweet Babying, thank you. That's how I prefer it. See, propagandists hate being exposed. Too late. Name and shamed. And again, they say it's the far right because no one on their side has criticized their games, right? Right? Because every black man loves when a character is just gender swapped, or a black man loves when it's race swapped. A woman just loves when the character is gender swapped, to fit their needs. They just love that, right? Because no one on their side has ever criticized it. It's always those pesky far right supremacists, those evil Donald Trump supporters, and who kick puppies and they clip butterfly wings. It's always them, right? And that side is just compiled of nothing but white men because no other person exists on the right or anything. So once again, they see that their bullcrap is ruining games, and instead of just accepting it, no, phobis and ism, far right supremacy, this and that, every time, as I've been doing for several months now, like several times a week, I'm talking about some douchebag in a company who's like, oh, you're a phobis and ism, and not just with gaming, but movies, TV shows, whatever, where they come out and attack the fans and say they're phobes, isms, far right, blah blah blah, because this is what they resorted to. This is what they resorted to. They know that they can hide behind the shield of just throwing out phobe, ism, far right every single time, because now they never have to take responsibilities for their own failures. Instead of accepting that they're going to these companies, making the games worse, and then those companies are expecting players to spend upwards to $80 for a subpar product. No, no, just blame the fans. Just blame the fans and say they're phobes, and isms. Every time. Every time. But we're the crazy ones, right? This isn't happening. This isn't happening. Anyway, that's going to do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye.